What's the most you've seen someone change from high school to your class reunion? Was laying tile at a guy's house who I went to school with but was a year under me. His brother was in my older brother's grade. His older brother was the biggest drug guy I knew. He did any kind of drug he could since about 6th grade. He never graduated, his younger brother did, and was not into drugs. I asked him what his older brother was doing now and he told me he owned his own insurance company. Could not believe it. A few years later I hear the younger brother had been left by his wife and he chased her down at a drive-thru and shot at her car and she sped away, causing him to run after her, shooting. He was eventually killed by the police. There are at least half a dozen people in my class that have killed themselves or overdosed on drugs. Edit. Rip my inbox. I guess I can give a little more context. I graduated in 13. 4 of these people have committed suicide and 2 from drugs. All of them were from white, middle-class suburbs in MN. I'd rather not name the town. TBH, I'm amazed everyone in my class of about 350 to 400 is still alive after almost 3 years. No odds, suicides or accidents yet. A girl I sat next to in homeroom for 11th and 12th grades was always really mousy and quiet, long brown hair, same jeans and t-shirt every day. At the 5-year reunion, there's this totally hot lady in black, high-heeled boots, dyed blonde hair and a razor cut. It was her. No one could believe it. I was lucky enough to move in the same social circles as she did for a few years and get to know her better. She was always a really cool person, but it was nice to see her come out of her shell. At my 10-year, someone I wasn't super friendly with in school but knew causally walked up to me and said, "You know, most people here have gained a bunch of weight but you're thinner than you were in high school." Made me feel good. The look on her face when I said, "Oh, that's 'cause I came out and no longer eat my feelings to compensate for being in the closet," was one of my favorite moments of my reunion. This one girl was super smart, in all the advanced placement classes, was on school council and all the smart kid clubs, always picked for any special outings like campus visits and symposiums. She came from a pretty well-off family, successful parents and all. I went back home to visit my parents and she's working at the local Subway with track marks on her arms. I really didn't expect that from her. There was a similar girl from my high school. So smart, so hardworking, so kind. Her pursuit of perfect grades sent her to the psych ward. She told her story to the class before graduation. Edit. Clarity. Same story, but with multiple people. Our class culture was extremely competitive and it feels like every day there's a new post on Facebook talking about recovery. I'd hoped this problem was more isolated than it seems to be. Yep, I had over 4.5 out of 5 GPA and I was still not top 10%. I was cum laude and I found myself putting so much pressure on me to be magna cum laude. I came .01 points away, so I pushed myself in college. I found myself crying sophomore year in college for making a B in math and calling my parents. I had to have them reassure me, and for even some parts of college I locked myself in my room either studying or mentally breaking myself down. I wasn't even eating until I found my current fiancé. I sometimes still am mad because even in college I was .1 point from magna cum laude, but fiancé was always there to pick me up. I would hate to have my kids put that much pressure on themselves, but that is a lot of schools. Yeah, from seeing this happen to a number of my friends, drug addiction doesn't care about your past accomplishments, your race, your economic class, your IQ, any of that. A well-off family and stable home might mean that there's more support for addiction treatment and getting clean. But in a well-off, outwardly successful family there's also more shame and stigma in the addiction in the first place. More than once I've seen that cancel out the other advantages. At the end of the day, drug addiction is a basic chemical thing that exploits the human brain with some really tragic results. There's really nothing that makes anybody immune from that. A friend and I were talking. He was commenting on how, since graduating from university years ago, it's nain hard for his wife and him to adjust. Both are smart, creative people and have always been told so. Learning the hard way that the rest of the world doesn't necessarily care and that you honestly aren't as special as you thought you were once you leave your little bubble has just smacked them in the face and they have needed to completely readjust their expectations. I suspect such realizations make the self-destructive path seem not so bad. Not a class reunion, we don't have them, but there was a girl in my class who was really quiet, shy, always dressed super conservatively, never came close to breaking the rules, a bit of a Hermione type. I bumped into her, having not seen her for like 7 years, and she was totally different. Covered in tattoos and piercings and dreadlocks. Almost didn't recognize her. Sort of similar thing. There was a girl in our class whose family was Iranian. Not sure if she was born here or there. In high school, she dressed very matronly, like she was 17 going on 45. Blouses, business skirts, middle-aged lady haircuts. Flash forward to our 20-year reunion, I didn't even recognize her. Boob job, skimpy dress, tan, very high heels, working as a bartender. Guess she had a girls gone wild experience after leaving home.